Okay, folks. I know it's been a while since I've posted anything. Which, oh well, life gets in the way. But I've been working on a project for the past several weeks that I'm pretty excited about and thought I'd like to start sharing and documenting. So those of you who have seen some of my previous videos might have picked up on a theme. I am really into underwater exploration. It's why I'm into Subnautica. It's why I did that little UPA1 video a while back. It's always been a big thing for me. But doing it in real life is a little bit costly. Can't exactly afford a submarine or an underwater robot or anything of that nature. But I can afford one thing. Or rather, I can afford to build a thing. I don't even know what I'd really call it. I sometimes call it a sensor platform. Sometimes I call it a underwater probe, a lander probe. I don't know. I don't know how to classify it. But basically, my idea was this. Take a Raspberry Pi, a camera, and a bunch of sensors, collect them all inside a watertight, pressure-rated enclosure, a pressure vessel, and sink it to the bottom of all my local lakes and reservoirs just to see what's down there. I have a few like lakes, bodies of water, just around my area that are relatively deepish. We're talking 30 plus feet or 10 plus meters. And I'd really like to see what's down there. So I've been working on this for the past few weeks. I've completed most of the software and most of the hardware. We can actually take a look at it now. As you can see right now, it's mostly just a bunch of electronic guts just sitting around my workspace here. But just kind of a quick preview. Here's the Raspberry Pi underneath this static bag right there. That's going to be the camera. It's just a standard Pi camera module. Over here is a dual pressure and temperature sensor. This is going to be screwed into the outside of the enclosure and report back temperature, pressure data. And that's also going to let me compute the depth that I'm operating at. This line here to this light bulb, I'm going to be modifying it a little bit, cutting off this dome, but basically that's going to provide light, I hope, if the water gets too dark, too murky. I'm actually not sure how well that's going to work because it's not a very bright light. But it is getting a full like 5 volt 1 amp power supply, and the Pi is going to be able to control it from this MOSFET module here. And I've already written it into the software that I'll be able to toggle it on and off manually from the control software. And it can also be strobed automatically in time with the picture captures. So I'm hoping this at least provides some utility, but again, it's not very bright. I don't know how well it'll work. So all this hardware is going to be stuffed into this cast acrylic tube here. It's about 4 inches interior diameter, and I'm not sure what the exterior diameter is exactly. But all the electronics are going to be stuffed in here. The company I bought this from claims that the entire enclosure with the end caps and all the O-rings and everything should be rated for at least 100 meters worth of pressure, which far exceeds any depth that I plan to take this in, so hopefully it won't leak. But that's the plan so far for there. The end cap of the pressure vessel does have some wire through holes that I'll be able to string cords through. And the intention is that I will run a waterproofed Ethernet cord from the pod up to a surface control unit on the boat. And that will allow me to control the system live, as well as get live video feeds and live sensor readings without having to yank the thing in and out of the water. That being said, the control software also has an autonomous mode, so it can just sit on the bottom and just take reading after reading, picture after picture at automatic intervals. So this should be good for long-term studies as well. And when I say long-term, I mean however long the battery lasts, which I haven't purchased a battery yet, but the ones I'm looking at should run the system for anywhere from like 2 to 8 hours is what I'm estimating. So that is where we're at right now. Like I said, most of the hardware and software I've figured out. Oh, well, one thing I haven't figured out yet is I have this pickup mic here, just a standard contact microphone like what you would attach to a guitar. I'm going to glue this to the inside of the enclosure, and hopefully that'll let me pick up underwater audio along with all the other data I'm collecting. So that's kind of the last piece of the hardware puzzle. And after that, really all that's left is to start integrating all of this inside the enclosure and figuring out how to mount all of it. The company that I bought the enclosure from, Blue Robotics, I got a lot of stuff from them, including this mounting tray, which is supposed to be perfectly fit for the tube I bought, and should allow me to mount the Pi and mount the other electronics relatively cleanly, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so now that so much of it is complete, I thought it was time to start documenting it, maybe make this a video series, and kind of go from there and see where we end up. The next video will probably be explaining how the software works. And then the video after that will hopefully be after we get all of this arranged in the enclosure and are finally ready to start testing. So that's where I'm at, and I welcome any comments and questions. Thanks.